Hello, and welcome to the Autism Resources Kawartha podcast. I'm Matt Garrity, and I'm so happy to be here with you. In this episode, Jamie shares her personal journey with autism, discussing her experience growing up with an autistic sister and raising an autistic daughter. She explores the challenges and triumphs of navigating a world not built for neurodivergent individuals, emphasizing the importance of understanding and support. This was actually the first episode that I recorded. I think it's kind of funny how much I'm fiddling with the microphone, but also find it interesting how I'm already adapting to this new role of podcast host. The Autism Resources Kawartha podcast is a series of unscripted conversations with local autistic people and the people who love them right here in Kawartha Lakes. Join us for a new episode every Tuesday on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. This podcast couldn't be possible without the support of Cardinal Home Services. Thank you so much. Check them out at cardinalhome.ca. Now, finally, enjoy this conversation with Jamie. So what's your experience with autism?
That's actually a very big question. I've been around autism since I was born. My oldest sister she's about 5 years older than me. I think when she was in her early teens, maybe like 13, 14, she was diagnosed with Asperger's.
When was that?
Ooh, how old am I now? That's a really good question. Math is not my strong suit.
20 years ago.
20 years ago, probably about, no, more than that. 25 years ago now?
That sounds like early days.
Yeah.
Of autism, right?
Yeah, I think that's, I was very young at the time, so I don't remember any of the process that my parents or that my family went through. But my understanding is one of the reasons it took so long for her to get that diagnosis is because they just weren't doing that. They weren't recognizing it or acknowledging it or diagnosing it really in much capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add in the layer of the fact that she's a girl. Well, was a girl. She's a woman.
Yeah.
And that the diagnosis rate was, and I think still probably is a little bit different, and like the timing of that. She was diagnosed in her early teens. Obviously, she was autistic before then.
Sure.
And then moving from that, my oldest daughter was probably when she was just shy of 2 years old. I started noticing similarities between her and my sister. And I would talk about it with my mom, and got my daughter on the wait list, and she, on her 4th birthday, was diagnosed with autism. Interestingly enough, as we were going through the process for my daughter to receive her diagnosis, when I was talking with physicians and at that point it was mainly physicians and pediatricians in different capacities, they would ask questions about my daughter and say like, oh, does she do this? Does she do this? Before the actual assessment. And I would say, yeah, but so do I. So I don't know if that's actually part of this. And that led to me having more conversations after my daughter's diagnosis about like with different physicians and with therapists about myself. So like I do not have a diagnosis. At this point, I'm not sure if it's something I'm pursuing for myself. But I can say on that front, that the resources that I've accessed for my daughter have proven exceptionally beneficial for myself as well. So even if I go through the process and they decide that I am not autistic, then I'm still benefiting from the autism resources that are circulating and that people like yourself are providing. I also want to just, on another note, because I'm kind of walking you through the timeline chronologically, my fiance's oldest, so we have 4 children between the two of us, and her oldest and my oldest are both autistic and both have formal diagnoses. So that's another aspect of my connection with autism.
That's amazing. Thanks for
everywhere.
sharing. Hey, It's Matt Garrity from the Autism Resources Kawartha podcast. I want to tell you about one of my family's favorite things to do in Kawartha Lakes, the Crazy Creative program at the Kawartha Art Gallery. It's totally free, open to all ages, and every Saturday the gallery turns into a space where you can express your imagination with model magic. I've taken my kids countless times, and we always walk away with big smiles. I've also talked to artists on this podcast who are autistic, and I love how a program like Crazy Creative makes creativity accessible for everyone. Join in any Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Kawartha Art Gallery. You can find out more by following them on social media or visiting kawarthagallery.com. You'll love it. I, did not prepare. I did no journalistic research or questions, so I have more questions now than I thought I was even going to have. It's cool to hear that you grew up with autism in your home with your sister, you said, right?
Yeah.
What was it like growing up with a sibling that had autism?
I grew up in a family with 4 kids. Cheryl, my oldest, the one who has been diagnosed autistic, she is the oldest, and then there is another sister of mine, then there's me, and then 5 years after me, there was my brother. So for the longest time, I was the baby of the family. And I had no understanding of what kind of the challenges that my parents faced were, or that my sisters faced, because I was just loving life as the baby of the family. I will say that there are a few very strong memories that I have of my sister, she is known as a social butterfly. She loves people. She will talk anyone's ear off. Way more friendly than I am. There are a few memories that I have with her where, I remember her being very angry and very, hands-on.
Meltdowns.
Yeah, she was having meltdowns. As a child, I had no idea what that was. So, my memory of, when I was a kid is, my sister, got mad and, would, push or whatever the case was.
Yeah. Cheryl is just being my sister.
Yeah, this is just who she is.
This is what people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking back at it now, she was having meltdowns. She was not able to regulate. She was overstimulated or understimulated. She was feeling so many feelings, and didn't have the coping mechanisms at the time, or couldn't access them, to manage those feelings in a way that most people, that neurotypical people, would consider appropriate.
Did your parents talk about her diagnosis? And not to get maybe too much into talking about how they were as parents, but how did they parent Cheryl and you and talk about the diagnosis? And
I don't really remember having big conversations with my parents about it. Honestly, I think most of the conversations I had when I was a kid about Cheryl's diagnosis were with Cheryl.
Sure.
And that was, again, she loved to chat. She loves to chat. That's a big part of who she is. So she would say, I'm autistic. Of course I'm doing this. Or that's the autism, little things like that. But my parents didn't ever have those big conversations, to my memory, with me directly. And again, I was under 10 when Cheryl was diagnosed. Growing up, beyond that, we definitely had more conversations as I was in my teens, and then as it went on, as life went on, and as I got older, and then certainly more after I had my daughter. That kind of opened it right up.
Did you think that you were more aware of the challenges your daughter was having because of your sister Cheryl?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your daughter's name?
My daughter's name is Maisie.
Maisie? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you're more aware of Maisie's having trouble because of what you had seen?
I think I am very fortunate in the fact that I recognized a lot of what Maisie was experiencing because I had seen something similar in my sister. I think there were like signs that she wasn't neurotypical. Like she wasn't necessarily hitting the milestones that we put out there for whatever reason we put them out there. So I was able to recognize that and had a sense of what that might mean.
Yeah.
While also knowing that that they're challenges, but they're not challenges because of who Maisie is.
Yeah.
They're challenges because of the world that we built around her. And I think, like, I know that my sister is no less of a person than anyone else, and that she experiences challenges again, but they're challenges that we can support and we can mitigate what's actually difficult for her. So with Maisie, the process of getting the diagnosis and then all of the supports and all of that's a challenge in itself. But at home, it was potentially easier for me than it is for other people because I've seen, I know how I was able to support Cheryl when Cheryl was having a meltdown. I know that, if it's space or if it's time or if it's like the different types of comfort that you can offer, I could just try those and see what happened. And I think that made it easier for me to support Maisie, even though they are very different people.
That's amazing. Like, how fortunate it is, Maisie, that you grew up with Cheryl to be able to give Maisie, frankly, a better life in childhood. And it's probably not perfect.
No.
Not that I would say that. I'm sure you wouldn't either. Not to speak for you, but honestly, like, she's really lucky.
Thank you. I just want to say right now that if I start to cry, it is just because you're being very supportive, and I am emotionally dysregulated.
Yeah, I was looking up to see how long it's going to take me to get emotional. Not 10 minutes. So.
Yeah. I think, like, I was fortunate to grow up with Cheryl, and I think that is not just because it made it easier for me to be there for Maisie, but I think it was just some people have a pretty great bubble, and they are surrounded, not by their own choice, but they're surrounded by people who are like them and who don't really challenge the norm in that sense. So I grew up in a house that was with a wonderful family, and I would never speak ill of them. There was a lot of dysregulation in this house a lot of the time. And I grew up understanding that that's okay, and that's not everyone is going to think like everyone else, and we all process things differently, and we all figure things out differently, and we all excel in different ways. And so I think that, like, Maisie aside, that helped me prepare to just live my life the way I am, the way I'm trying to. And then, Maisie, she has like an aunt that she can relate to, even if they don't talk about it together.
Yeah. Like,
seeing them together is so beautiful because they can just like sit down and exist and understand each other and then get overstimulated together and go their separate ways and then come back and be totally fine. And so I think she is fortunate in that sense as well.
It's cool. I was racking my brain while you were telling me this. I don't think I've ever spoken to a sibling of someone that had autism. And it's something that I think about a lot. And my wife and me, Meg, have challenges with because, like, our younger son, Foster, is growing up with my older son, Beckett, who's diagnosed with autism. And we're very open, very vocal. And it's been super successful since we've been so open. And always been open, but more open the last couple of years. But you see the struggle with Foster. And it's hard for him to have a person in the house, period, or a brother and another kid, someone that he feels is an equal, often like with special needs, and maybe looking like he's getting preferential treatment and getting his way all the time, and everything in so many ways revolves around him and making sure he's happy. So that's something I struggle with a lot and haven't thought about in a little bit.
Can I ask what the age difference is?
18 months.
Okay.
So, it was, we always wanted to have a second one. We did not plan on having him so quickly.
Right.
So it was challenging at first, and everywhere we went, people thought we had twins. They're very different now in personality and in looks and everything. I don't even look like brothers, honestly. But so Foster is 8, and you can see, like, the more we talk about it, I think the more understanding he is and open. And we had a good talk the other day where we also believe that Foster has ADHD because of family history with that as well. And we're a neurospicy family. So one of Beckett's triggers is water on his face. But we have a pool. He loves being in the pool. But, like, don't splash me. I don't want to get wet. I don't want water on my face. He's never put his face in water, type of thing. Foster's the complete opposite. We almost named him Wilder, which made sense now. It didn't at the time. I was like, that's a ridiculous name. It's a great name. Makes perfect sense. He is wild. He is full of energy, so athletic. And because we think he has ADHD, I honestly don't believe he is in control of his actions a lot of the time.
Right.
So he's in the pool and he splashes his brother and Foster's not doing anything. He's just being a kid also. And Beckett snaps. He's so mad. And I said to them both, I'm like, Beckett, you know that you have a hard time controlling your emotions. Yeah. And I'm like, Foster has a hard time controlling his actions. He's like, oh. And that was a good teachable moment, at least. And that was like, I forget where I started this, but the idea of, like, being able to use these tools and be more open instead of, like, again, getting mad at Foster for splashing, or frankly, if we were growing up and getting mad at our brother, we'd all be in trouble, type of thing.
Yeah. So. That's really interesting. Just on the note, and not to derail the rest of the conversation, but the idea of the younger sibling not being able to control their actions. My youngest does not have a diagnosis of anything at this point. She sounds like she's very similar to Foster. She will she'll do cannonballs. Yeah. She will run wild, do everything that terrifies me. This kid will do
100%. Yes.
Whereas Maisie is so careful.
The complete opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
We sound like they're the same kids.
Yeah. And Lucy, my youngest, she just the other day we were in the car and I have fidget toys in the car.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah.
And she had a toy in her hand and she was playing with it, just like quietly playing with this fidget toy. And then she says, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh, what's going on, babe?" And she says, "My body won't let me stop playing with this toy. My brain doesn't want me to play with it, but my body won't let me stop." And it was the most mature thing I've ever heard come out of a 4-year-old's mouth.
Yeah.
But she was it sounds like she's very similar to Foster in that regard. Like, she doesn't necessarily have that ability to control what she's doing, even though she wants it. And yeah, like having those characteristics right beside someone who is always in control of everything that she does, except for when she's just emotionally dysregulated. That's a challenge in itself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Foster's the same way. And he's spoken about, like, it will hurt him to stay still.
Yeah.
And even, like, we've adjusted our home like crazy to be more, how would you even say it? More accommodating, more inclusive for everybody. So I remember even a year ago, he'd be standing up at dinner time or kind of like moving around, dancing. And I'd be like, sit down, sit down, sit down. Now, he's at the dinner table. It's fine. He can stand. We've got those little rubber band things. I forget what they're called. So
for you to bounce on your seat on,
They're so annoying because you're sitting there and there's like all these noises going off and like the kids are talking at the same time because frankly, they can't really control that. And we're trying to have like multiple conversations and they're bouncing those bands and stuff. And it's like very, like I said, neurospicy. All that in our kitchen and our lives. But
I had the noise canceling headphones just for yourself.
Yeah, Meg's got the loops.
Yeah, that's what I had. I don't know if we wanted to brand anything.
Well, I looked on it and like they are specific for people neurodivergent people.
Yeah, so. I have my own pair and I have a pair for me.
She loves them and she started putting them in at Loblaws.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say that. I don't care, whatever. But then you go on Loop's website and they're very open about like they are for people with ADHD and like noise canceling in adults and all this kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
So what did it feel like when you heard Maisie had autism?
I knew it. Like there was no doubt in my mind that she was autistic. I was not with her when she had the assessment. She was with her other parent. But the assessor called me.
Sure.
And we had a conversation, and they asked me the same thing. They're like, "How are you feeling?" I'm like, "I'm just glad that you guys acknowledged it."
Yeah.
Like this is not a surprise to me at all. This is kind of like the first step to getting more support. And to like, it gave me confidence because even though I had already, we had already started kind of practicing different support methods and different things that we could do, knowing that she is autistic, this like they are recognizing it. This is not just us assuming this is a real thing. Not saying that if you're not diagnosed, it's not real, but having that validation, it was telling me that we were on the right track.
Yeah.
So now that kind of made us. It helped me create kind of a roadmap in my own mind. I'll just speak for myself, but it helped me create kind of a roadmap of okay, this is what we need to do next. Here are the next steps. Here's how long that we'll probably have to wait for any of that kind of thing. Anyways, it just helped me map it out and figure out what I could do to support Maisie in the way that she needed to be supported, or that it seemed like she needed to be supported. And obviously you have to adjust on the way. But yeah, it really just was like, okay, we have that answer. Now we can move on to the next step, the next like checkpoint on this map.
Yeah. When we got Beckett diagnosed, like, not to speak for my wife, but like she knew. Our nephew has autism. She's a bit more familiar. It was on her side, so we're a bit more aware of it. But I was super naive, and I don't know. I didn't know what the point of a diagnosis was. Right. Also, I didn't want to spend the money. Did
you do it privately?
We did it privately.
Okay.
Because we were recommended through the pediatrician and through the group locally here, and we heard it could be years.
Yeah.
We just found out, I'm pretty sure it was 2024, we finally got a call from them saying, hey, we're ready to do that diagnosis. We're like, cool. He was diagnosed 2 years ago. So we went privately. So I was like, I don't want to spend the money. What's the point? Why do we do this? Like you said, it was just so validating.
Yeah.
And I had said, I'm trying to, like, do I censor myself? But I remember saying to the doctor, I want to know, like, is he being a dick? Was exactly what I said. Or is there something that he needs help with? And she said to me, she's like, no kid is being a dick. There's always a reason why they are behaving a certain way.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And honestly, when we got the diagnosis, I like broke down because that was my first time like kind of hearing it or accepting it. And then just to hear like your kid has a disability or this special need, that was a lot. But, and I think back then, like, okay, we changed how we were parenting and talking to him and working with him, dealing with him, whatever. And we thought we were doing good back then, and we're doing terribly, so bad. Now, we think we're doing perfect. But also, maybe in a couple of years, I'll look back like, man, we're doing such a terrible job, and like continuing to grow. And that's been the biggest thing to me is the idea of getting that diagnosis, or do you even need the diagnosis? But the idea of start using the tools to just treat that person that way.
Yeah.
Which means the world of a difference.
Yeah. I think just touching on not knowing if you're doing the right thing or feeling like you're doing the right thing and then realizing you're not. I think I want to say that's a universal parenting thing, Like,
I think it's universal good parenting thing.
Yeah, I think there are probably some parents who don't.
They just don't care.
They
don't
go
think
do what they want.
My wife and me say this all the time because like we're exhausted,
yeah.
And I'm like, are we thinking too much about like, are we doing the right thing? Because I feel like we talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But which is like I joke. I don't think bad parents are talking about
no, probably not.
We're trying really hard because we are good. So like give ourselves some credit, and probably the same to you, right?
Yeah. I break down weekly. Weekly. I'm like I'm doing something wrong. But then there are weeks that go by and Maze, she's always loved water.
Yeah.
Like loved bath time, loved splashing in like splash pad. Loved even like water tables. Loves water. But last summer and earlier this summer, she would not go underwater in like the lake or in a pool. She would not do it.
Yeah.
And I remember I struggle personally with, I try not to put my own memories or my own, I don't want to project who I am on her. I know that we are very similar and I can recognize that, but I also know that we are not the same person. And that's something I struggle with. When I was a child, I was signed up for swim lessons. And I don't know who did these swim lessons. I know my parents meant well when they signed me up. I remember vividly the bobbing lesson.
Yeah.
When I learned to swim, or when I was supposed to learn to swim. And that was a level of trauma that I can still feel in my body.
Yeah.
So in my head, I was like, well, she probably doesn't want to go underwater because she might have had like a negative experience or just as terrified even without a negative like experience. And I don't blame her at all. And she never has to go underwater if she never wants to. I will never, ever make my kid bob.
Beckett has never put his head underwater.
Yeah,
bath, pool. He never enjoyed splash pads. So in hindsight, like we're like, well, yeah, this of course is why we would go to the splash pad. We're like, yo, go in. He wouldn't do anything.
Right.
Now this all makes sense, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a sensory nightmare for him.
Yes, absolutely.
And then this past week, the one that just ended like on Sunday, we were in the pool and she first of all went in without us like urging her in.
Yeah. She
before would like stand at the stairs. She would get in, but she would like hang out on the stairs. This time she just went in and she can touch the bottom. It's an above ground pool.
Yeah.
And she's a tall kid.
Yeah.
But she just went in and was like in the middle of the pool doing her own thing. She started splashing with the water just by herself kind of thing. Then she started playing more and she would go up to the other kids and would like play with them and grab floaties and all of this stuff. And then she grabbed my fiance and she said, Ashley, Mama A, go under. So Ashley does what she's told.
Yes.
And Maze is encouraging this. And she bobs. And I'm watching this happen. And Maisie bobbed right beside, like parallel to Ashley. And then they came up and they were both just cackling, like laughing so hard. And that just became like the game of the day.
Yeah.
Like
that's the one that got me. Sorry, yeah.
I'll let Ashley know that she's the one who made you cry.
Well, no, it's just like when you have a kid with autism and there's the sensory nightmares or things are harder for them and then they do it.
Yeah.
And it's just like so special. Yeah. And not to steal your story, but like my son all of a sudden got a list on the fridge. He's like, these are the 5 things I want to try eating.
This is Beckett?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, one's a cheese sandwich.
Okay. Interesting choice.
And there's going to be people that like don't know anything about what we're talking about. They're like, what?
Yeah.
But like, he's never eaten a cheese sandwich, or like a ham and cheese sandwich.
Okay.
Never eaten a ham and cheese sandwich toasted.
Oh, okay.
There's ramen, sushi, seafood, dumplings.
And these are foods he listed.
Yeah. Because he started watching, was it K-pop Demon Hunters?
Oh my goodness. This movie is everywhere.
It's amazing. It's actually, I will say I've not watched much of it, but the music is awesome. So he's now obsessed with this Korean culture. And he's putting all these things on. Anyway, so like he eats like a dumpling the other day. And it's just like, to anybody else or whatever, but just the fact to see him eating something that is like scary to him And it's not like a big crab or weird looking meat. It's just a dumpling.
From a sense, just from like a mouthfeel perspective, that was bold.
Yes.
And like sushi being on the list, like this, I don't eat sushi because of the texture. I don't eat anything with coconut because of the texture.
Well, I told him, I'm like, dumplings you're going to like, because he likes pierogies at the market.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're going to like those.
Yeah.
And then he saw them and he's like, I don't know about that. Because they looked like kind of crispy. I'm like, trust me, they're like pierogies. And he opens it up and he's like, why is this meat like this? What meat is this? I'm like, it's pork. He loves pork. He's like, this is not pork. I'm like, I'm not lying to you. I promise you I'm not lying to you. And he loved it. So it was great. But anyway, like those moments, and then my wife and me would look at each other. It's just like so amazing to see your kid overcoming something that I don't know if it's more special because it shouldn't be scary.
Yeah.
But the fact that it is scary, and you're like, and it's in his soul not to do it is just beautiful. And that's what made me emotional with your daughter, just doing that bob, and like so special that she did it. She felt safe with your partner. And like, that's so special too, that they find someone or something that makes them safe too. And like, that's just amazing that we can do that.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Oh, I can't speak highly enough about that relationship.
Yeah.
Like it's beautiful to see. In the pool, like, is one thing. Because I'm not bombing. Like I will go underwater, but this is not something I want to do.
Yeah.
That I will just like hover, I'll float. I'll swim a little bit if I need to. Lucy, the one who does cannonballs, asked me, and she's like wearing a life jacket as she does them.
Yeah.
But she did a cannonball, said, okay, Mom, it's your turn. No, babe, I don't do cannonballs. And she asked me, again, because she talks to me like she's in her 30s as well. She's like, have you ever done a cannonball, Mom? No. No, I haven't, and I'm not starting right now.
Is this the sensory things, or it's still like the traumatic bobbing?
I think it's probably a mixture of both. I wear glasses. I don't have contacts in any ever. Which is probably also a sensory thing now that I say that out loud. But I am fairly blind.
Sure.
So when I go underwater, I don't wear my glasses. The idea of cannonballing into the water when I don't have my glasses on and I can't see and I don't have any sort of sense of control, it's terrifying.
Yes.
So I think it's probably a mixture of just that bobbing lesson and just not having any sort of control, not knowing what's happening. And then there are other people in the pool. Like, what if one of them like bumps into me? What if I land on one of my kids? Like, there are so many awful things that can happen.
Too much. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's probably a mixture of both. But watching Maisie just decide on her own to do that, to go under and to initiate that play as well, because she used to. I was even recently was looking over her like the assessment when she was diagnosed, and we've talked about it in like through occupational therapy and stuff lately as well. She didn't used to initiate play. She was very happy to just do her own thing and like be parallel and hang out near you without initiating and without actually engaging with people. It didn't matter what age. Now she's not only initiating play with like her sister or her other siblings from the blended family, but she's also initiating play with like my partner. Yeah. And in such like she's catering the play to the person. Yeah. So she knows that with Lucy, she can play more of like this wild kind of play or a different type of make believe. She'll create a scenario. Yeah. And then with Ashley, she's very much I feel safe, so I can bob with her. Yeah. Or if we're at Ashley's house, she will ask Ashley to make pancakes. Yeah. And then I'll just look over and Maisie and Ashley are just making pancakes together at 3 p.m. Like,
is this new for Ashley, this neurodivergent world?
I don't want to tell too much of her story, but so her oldest is almost 9. Okay. They were diagnosed later in life than Maisie was. I within the last few years. so Ashley's been exploring it that way, and then she has her own experiences as well. So she's used to like her kid.
Yeah.
And she's wonderful with her kid.
That helps so much.
It really,
especially blending that family, like you said too.
When we first started talking, like the first time we met up in person, she was saying the other day, she's like, I don't even know what we talked about. We just kept talking. I'm like, oh, I remember bits of, like pieces of it. And a lot of that was, even before we met up in person, a lot of it was the experiences that we had with our kids, with our oldest kids, and the struggles of getting the support that they needed. And then going through the system. Maisie, we were so lucky. It felt like an eternity between us recognizing that we needed to get her tested and assessed, and actually getting that assessment, because we went through 5 counties for it.
Yeah.
It felt like an eternity, but she was still diagnosed on her 4th birthday, received her diagnosis. So it actually was still very early on.
Very early on, and like especially like you said, for a girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Whereas Ashley ended up going the private route because it was going to take so long. So I think she had her own experiences not knowing what was happening with her kid. And then, it was, so she wasn't new to the neurodivergent universe.
Yeah.
But Maisie is very different from the oldest of the kids.
Yeah.
And being able to build that connection with Maze, Ashley will say how much it means to her. Similar in, like, on the flip side, Luna, Ashley's oldest, is engages with people in ways that other people might not. And one of the things that I love about the relationship that I have with them is that I can't remember where we were picking them up from or what we were doing, but we were in the car and Luna was like, I wish there was a tornado right now. Poor Ashley had no idea what was about to happen in this car. And I was like, you know what? So do I, but only because they're like super cool, like weather phenomenons. And I was like, anyways, the two of us for like 20 minutes were talking about like my experiences that I've had like with tornadoes and like my memories of like going into the basement with my parents with like popcorn chicken, and because you don't want to cook, so you just like grabbed it really quick on the way home when there was a warning.
Have you spoken to Luna about your experience in the past?
About tornadoes?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, this was just like Luna was like, I wish there was a tornado. And it opened up this huge thing. So we talked about my experiences with it, but also the science behind tornadoes, and what makes them so incredibly cool, and just how weather as a whole is like, sorry, this is all coming out.
Weather, you crazy. Yeah.
So it was like 20 minutes of just an intense back and forth about tornadoes.
Nice.
And then, days will go by where like Luna and I like barely talk. Like we just kind of hang out and we're around each other.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's fine. And then another day randomly we'll be like, this rock is really cool. Like Luna will just tell me like, this is a really cool rock. And I'll be like, yeah, that's a sedimentary rock. And it's like
you're off to the races.
Last night and then again this morning, Luna was saying they wanted to go to Mexico, and I have no interest. This is not a place that I've ever wanted to go.
Sure.
Because of fear that I have built up in my head. That's nothing.
You have to go underwater if you go to Mexico. So you can't go to Mexico without cannonball.
You would think, except for Luna wants to go to Mexico for the historical aspect of it. Luna wants to see the temples and the statues. And I was like, oh, this is fun. Let's talk about this not at 10 o'clock at night. And then again this morning as I'm like trying to get out the house to like go to work. So that is a relationship. I don't have that kind of relationship with Maisie.
Yeah.
And Ashley doesn't have that kind of relationship with Luna. So it's really fun to see how just as individuals we are able to build really specific relationships with certain people. And I think, without speaking for Ashley too much, I think it is something that both of us have really enjoyed in this journey.
If you give them a chance, like, they're so much fun to talk to.
So much fun to talk to.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's
and especially like if they find your thing that you like tornadoes, and then you find like, or that common ground between the two of you, it's great. It's an amazing relationship.
Yeah.
Like, just great conversation.
It's so much fun.
And they're just so honest.
Yeah.
Right. And they say things that would, if I said them, they'd be rude or inappropriate, but like they just say them, and they're kids, first of all. But then second of all, like they're not saying it inappropriately. They're just saying it as words. And there's something so beautiful about that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Luna has got into my car before and said, "Why is it so messy in here?" I'm like, "Because Lucy and Maisie."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that like, yes, they're kids at this point, they're kids, but also like just growing up, like I say things all the time that after I say them, I'm like, no, that was probably not the right move. I've like had interactions at work where I have said something, and as I'm saying it, I can recognize that this is not the appropriate thing for me to say right now in this moment. And thankfully the people here are, they are very supportive, and yeah, like even the director of people and culture is so open to like having a conversation with me about, not in like a formal setting. It was not the incident that I'm referring to was not in a formal setting, but we had an exchange, and afterwards I was very, very quick to be like, that was not how it should have gone.
Massive HR violation, it sounds like. I want to ask more, but I'm not going to. So
it was not. Everything is great.
Great. Still employed. This place is awesome. Ampere is awesome.
It really is. It is fantastic. But Kate was, sorry, I just name dropped you, Kate.
No problem.
We acknowledged what happened. She is aware of like who I am and what my intentions generally are. And we've just been able to move on. And there's no one, I hope. And we've talked about it since then. So unless she did a great job of pulling me over.
Bring Kate in HR. No, I was kidding. Turn into Jerry Springer in here.
I'm going to leave this room and be like, "Hey, Kate, I need to talk to you."
Yeah, we need to bring this up real quick. You need to sign a disclosure.
But no, she handled it so well. And we've had conversations since then, and it's just been, it's really lovely to have that support here. I've also asked her to just like, she knows my brain well enough to know that maybe Jamie's filter wasn't doing the thing in this moment, or like she lost capacity to mask. Not that they encourage me to mask here or like pretend, but like you do, to a certain extent, you're trying to maintain this professional demeanor. She can recognize kind of what's going on, and it's not her burden to carry that. Yeah. But I've asked her to be like, if you think I'm just being a dick, can you just mention it to me? Like
that doctor said kids are not being dicks on purpose. Adults might be dicks on purpose.
Like we can't blame everything on that.
Yeah.
I've made it into my 30s. I should know a few things. I don't know how we got on this tangent about how I was.
What do you do here? I mean that was a weird tone, but like
you do community relations.
And so you reached out. So my backstory here was Ryan reached out to me. I don't know, 3 months ago now. And he's like, "Hey, I want to do marketing with you." I've never had a sales conversation like this before, because I was like, "Oh, cool, great." I come in, he's like, "Yeah, I seen your website, saw the pricing. I want to do this." And I'm like, "Cool." That was easy. And I was like, "Oh, by the way, I've got this Autism Resources Kawartha thing I'm going to be doing. I want to do like a sensory room for Classics on Kent." And he's like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Cool, we'll do it." And then you reached out, and everyone here is just amazing. And everyone's accessible and kind and inclusive. And if the rest of the world was just like Ampere, or even the rest of Kawartha Lakes, everyone would be so much better off. And everyone here is just so good-natured, I guess the way to put it. And it's just fascinating to me.
That's what I do. I do community relations.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, but the culture here, it ultimately starts with Ryan. And I think without it sounding like I'm just a big cheerleader for him, as the CEO, as the founder of the organization, he has done a really, and this is me just speaking as an individual who works here, he's done an excellent job of helping people feel comfortable, being themselves, bringing their own experiences to the table, and kind of giving people the chance to, I don't know, to express what they want in the organization. So I was in marketing, officially in marketing here, for a while, and then in September of last year, there was a title change, and I became, community relations, and through that, I was able to kind of dive further into the connecting with people side of it, rather than doing a lot of the writing, like the digital storytelling and the blog posts and all of that, which I enjoy doing. I went to school for journalism, so I'm comfortable with. But I was able to connect more with people, and that started with the relationship. The first kind of partnership was with Kawartha Lakes Pride, which was I have said this before, and Riley will forgive me, but it was the low hanging fruit for me. Like, this is, I know these are my people. We've got this. And so we did that before my title officially changed last year. I was lucky enough to be heavily involved in Pride in the Park from the Ampere perspective. And then, the title change happened, and it was, okay, now let's build the other relationships with different groups. And then Autism Resources Kawartha, I think I actually discovered it on my own because it just popped up on my own Facebook. And then...
so that's funny, because I remember I talked to Ryan about it, and then it was live at that point.
Right.
And then I remember seeing you follow us, and I was like, oh, this woman clearly, or you reached out afterwards about Ampere.
Right.
And I was like, oh, it must be because of Ryan.
Ryan had mentioned it.
Sure.
But it was just the timing of it all worked so well. Because I saw your stuff. Ryan had mentioned it. We connected about Classics on Kent, but we also, there are other projects going on related specifically to accessibility and inclusion. And
now I remember. I was on those calls. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the organization is moving towards, I shouldn't say moving towards, we have a kind of a stronger focus on doing what we can to foster a sense of belonging everywhere.
Yeah. That's what Ryan had said. And I was like, perfect. So then I asked about the sensory safe space. He's like, yep, take it. Yeah. We'll figure it out. And then I was like, hey, I don't have a lot of volunteers, and it's just me and my wife at this point. Would you guys staff it? And they're like, yep. I'm like, okay, cool. And then when you were like, hey, are you going to be there all day? I was like, I don't want to be. And you're like, okay, cool. And I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah. And people here, the Ampere staff who were in the sensory safe space on Sunday, I was not there for that.
Yeah.
I had both my kids. My youngest is not sensory safe.
Yeah.
She was doing cannonballs. The people who were here, those are folks who signed up to do it. No one was forced to do it. I put it out there hey, it would be great if we could have some people do this. Every person who signed up to be there and who was there, they were there because they knew that they recognized that it was important. They recognize, maybe they have a personal connection, maybe they don't, but they recognize that this is an important way, having a sensory safe space is an important way to help everyone feel included in community events without having to suffer through the entirety of a community event.
Yes.
And that's it can be overwhelming to go to something. But you also, if you feel like you can't go, like that hurts.
There are people and families that won't go to events, community events, because it's too much for them.
Yeah.
And the fact that we did that on Sunday, I think is super special. Yeah. I believe it's the first of its kind for an event, at least, in Kawartha Lakes. I know there's another organization that has a sensory safe room, but I don't know what they use it for, like Boys and Girls Club. Like they've got one. And I think it's for the people that are at the summer camps or whatever else. But I think this is probably, maybe you should put on my marketing hat, like this is the first of its kind. And I have been saying that, but it's the first of its kind in Kawartha Lakes, where for an event we had a sensory safe space, which made it so people with autism and their families could go to that event where they might not have been. They would have been scared in previous years. Or we've been to this event. This event goes fine for us, but it's still hot. It's hot. And it's overwhelming. I was very overwhelmed this past Sunday. I just ran into every person in the world that I know, type of thing, and I was like, I was very chatty when I like set up the sensory safe space, and I came back for a break, and then I was exhausted. I had nothing to say to those poor people that were there, but I thought it was like the first one, and to me it was like, we've done something tangibly awesome for autism in this community. Yeah. Which is cool.
Yeah. I've heard from one of the staff members who was there on Sunday that someone from another organization popped into the space and they're inquiring about doing this for another, like they would love to have something similar for another event.
Perfect.
I haven't connected with that person yet, so I will certainly follow up with you and with them about it.
That's awesome.
But I think, it was like you said, a tangible way that you are making a difference, and we have the space. Yep. And I know Ryan, one of the things when he and I were talking a long while back about moving into this building was he wants it to be a hub for the community. What the community needs, we want to be able to deliver that in whatever capacity we can. And I think as we look forward and as we continue kind of striving to make this a year of belonging and to help kind of foster that sense of community, having a space where people can go and just not be dying of like being like covered in sweat and overstimulated by all of the noise and the bright lights, and having to have conversations with people that you don't necessarily want to have conversations with. Yeah. Not because they're bad people, just because you're peopled out. Yeah. It makes a huge difference. I was back in town as Classic Sunken was kind of wrapping up. And even at that point, it was still overstimulating for me. But like knowing that people they were able to participate in that, they were able to see all of the attraction of that and participate and have fun and really engage with Lindsay and with the community as a whole, and have the safety net of like, if it becomes too much, I can walk a block over and go sit in the air conditioning and not talk to anyone. Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. And I'm excited to keep doing it and to have more sensory safe spaces here, like in the maker space, but also like exploring what the partnership could be moving forward.
I think it's awesome. You've already talked to me about another event. And instead of me being like, hey, can we do that sensory safe space again? You're like, hey, I wanted to talk to you about this other event. Here's where we're doing the sensory safe space. And it's probably never happened, but how great would it be if every event in Kawartha Lakes, that's just part of their events everywhere. Like, hey, we're doing this event. We've got to do all these things. And sensory safe space is something that they have to check off. Yeah. That would be cool. And it started here. And I think that's really cool.
So, yeah. I think it's really exciting where we're going. I think as a community with Autism Resources Kawartha, like it is, you've kind of got the ball rolling for the rest of us to maybe take a closer look at what we're doing and how we can incorporate the sensory safe aspect, but also just like how we can actually be more inclusive
and accessible to everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We in my role, I've had the privilege of watching a video interview that we've done with someone, and this interview is not live yet, so I can't divulge too much. But they said it in the recording, that when they were engaging with the makerspace team, with the youth delivery team specifically, but also everyone from Ampere that they were running into and they interacted with, the programming that was delivered for the young learners wasn't built around, or no, rather, they said people weren't wedged into it. So if someone had a different need, or if someone kind of required different support, they weren't like wedged into something. They didn't try to adjust the programming to fit that.
Yeah.
They built the programming to include everyone from the get-go.
That's amazing.
And the people, like the youth delivery team here specifically, and the adult team does it as well. The people across the board here are very, they're doing everything that they can.
Yeah.
I believe that in my heart, that they are doing everything that they can to include as many people as possible. The youth delivery team, and maybe it's just because I have a soft spot because they're working with kids. You can see it, you can feel it, everything that they do, they are doing it with the mindset of making sure that not one kid feels like they are, like they're other. Yeah. Like they are equal, they are welcome with just as many open arms as they want. Like they're
not being left behind.
They're not being left behind, and
stuffed in a black dark room.
Exactly, unless they need a break, and then then they can choose to do that.
Yes.
But I'll mention, like, Maisie, when she was here at one point, there was someone on the youth team who, honestly, I hadn't talked to this staff member very much. We just hadn't bumped into each other. We didn't interact very much. And Maisie walked over to this person and just like touched her cheeks. Just like walked over and just like touched her cheeks. And I was like, okay, well, she must be cool then. Like,
yeah.
Maisie's on board. And that from that moment on, every time Maisie was in the space and this person was here, Maisie was like in love and felt very comfortable around them, would ask this person to play. Another team member, whenever Luna walks into the space, this person greets them with a very loud, booming, Luna!
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to see. And like I'm not going to give this person credit for making me cry because he will know exactly who he is. But it's such a big impact that I don't even think, I'm not sure that he's aware of what that means.
Yeah.
And I don't know, well, I know that staff member with Maze, she is kind of aware because I've told her outright. I'm like, she doesn't really like people. So
yeah.
And it's not that she doesn't like them, but it
takes time for them to warm up.
Yeah. And Maze is such a strong, she has a really good sense of who people are, and like I trust her in a lot of ways more than I trust myself when it comes to like interacting with new people. She has a good read on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just, without making this too much of a like hurrah for Ampere, but but we have really good people working here who genuinely like live. They live by example, or they set that example of like just including everyone and caring for people.
That's what I would like. Yeah, to continue the hurrah for Ampere, and I think I said this in an email at some point to you and Ryan, because a lot of people are very quick to say, "Oh yeah, we'll help. Oh yeah, we'll support. Yeah, we'd like to make this more accessible." And you're like, "Okay, cool, let's do it." And then they're like, well, I don't know. Or like, well, how are we going to do it? But Ampere right away was like, I didn't know what a sensory safe space was. You asked me, I'm like, I don't really know. And I just made something up. And we're like, yeah, let's figure it out. But you guys are on board right away. No questions asked. Just met the basic question of, can we do this? You're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. So.
Yeah, I will also acknowledge Vanessa, who is my director. she said something to me earlier this year, where it was basically like, let's just do it. Let's just do the thing. And it wasn't specifically for the sensory safe space, but she's like, let's just do the thing. If it doesn't go perfect, we can fix it the next time. 100%. Like, we'll learn from it. We'll improve it.
No, who's getting mad at who?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be mad at anybody. You're like, if people,
I get mad.
I personally want my own, like, the branding stuff to make sense. And I want it to be a good, safe space. And like I said, I just don't want a magician in there. I don't want commotion on purpose in there.
Yeah.
If there's people in there that are like stimming or they need to get energy out, that's fine. Right. But like, if we can avoid bringing other like commotion in, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But again, no one's getting mad. It's like, let's just see what happens. I had said to the Sheila and Hussein, who is so nice that I don't know if he's a real person.
Right.
I literally, when I got here today, I said to John, I was like, is he actually like that nice? He's a beautiful person.
He really, to the point where...
And Sheila's awesome too, but
yes. Yeah, Hussein, I have mentioned this to Hussein, that like he walks in a room and I feel my blood pressure drop. Like I am just so at ease. So when he volunteered, when he said, yeah, sign me up, I'll be at the safe space, I'm like, oh my God, thank you.
Oh, he was awesome.
You were the perfect no shade to everyone else who volunteered.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know what it is. And I guess it comes back to last summer when we had a whole like big staff event. Maisie was with me the whole time.
Yeah.
I had found childcare for Lucy, but Maze stayed with me the entire time. So she was at every meeting.
Yeah.
All of the like the more of the conference style parts of it, the events that I was attending for it. And I remember Maisie and Hussein met. And Hussein is not a short person.
No, he's 9 feet tall. Yeah. I'm short, but he's like exceptionally tall.
Yeah. He and Maisie like just felt comfortable with him.
That was Foster. Both kids, but Foster right away.
Yeah.
It was like they were doing high fives and stuff, and he's like, yeah. Anyway.
He just has a really calming nature.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What other resources do we need in Kawartha Lakes for autism? What are we most desperate for?
Provincial funding.
Yeah.
I think I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't have said that. But
well, my experience is someone that I don't want to say too many names, but Robin introduced me basically to a friend of hers that I believe now is a friend of mine. I'll say his name is Chris because his name is Chris, whose son is 9. I won't say the son's name. Who's 9, nonverbal, is able to receive the maximum amount of funding and has been for the last 4 to 5 years, not received a single dollar.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this at all. I don't control it, of course, and I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
But it's shocking and scary. And then you want like this will be a rabbit hole of government. But yes. That's my experience and from what I've heard, because we've not actually done anything on our end,
right?
Personally, but this is what I've heard.
Yeah, I think I know I have an idea of what the wait lists are for services. Again, I mentioned 5 counties earlier. They have been a huge part of Maisie's development. Maisie has gone through speech therapy with them, occupational therapy. That's where she went for the assessment, was through 5 counties. They are wonderful, wonderful people. And my concern is that other people have to wait to get those services. And I think it's the wait that makes it painful for people. They don't have access to something that ultimately they needed 3 years ago. Having to wait so long that adds to the struggle. And I'm not, I know that there is support out there and that nothing is free. I understand that. And that the province is doing what they can. But if without putting blame anywhere, in a perfect world, people wouldn't have to wait 2 years for a diagnosis. They wouldn't have to wait 2 years for speech therapy. They wouldn't have to wait and they shouldn't have to rely on like going the private route for it, because not everyone can.
Yeah.
That truthfully, that's why like I'm not pursuing a diagnosis for myself right now, is because I don't want to hand out the cash.
Someone had told me too.
Like,
like they're an adult. I don't know how old you are, but like
I am an adult.
30. Yeah, yes. As a fellow adult, they had said the same thing about their own diagnosis of like, I don't want to spend the money. I'm just gonna kind of treat myself like I've got it, which is really what you want in the end in so many ways. So
yeah,
and I think from what you're saying too, like provincial funding and more resources and these people locally are good. We need more of them.
yes.
We need more 5 counties. We need more speech therapists. We need more occupational therapists. We just need more of them.
And they need to be able to support themselves doing those things
Absolutely,
as well.
yeah. Because I do think like right now there is like a high cost on a lot of the private stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's more of them here, it might actually drive it down a bit. Maybe,
yeah.
That's an economics conversation, but like I think more options also would be good. So like, okay, I do have the chance to pay for it, and it's going to be quick, because even the people you pay for, it's still months out sometimes.
Yeah,
3 months out.
Yeah, we've also gone. So Maisie has been in speech, like I mentioned, with 5 counties, but in the downtime between the different blocks of her sessions, she's also done private speech therapy.
Yeah.
Which, again, not to like hurrah amp here, but speech therapy, part of that's covered under my benefits.
Yeah.
And I don't know how common it is for speech to be covered for different benefits plans, and I don't think people even think about it unless they need it.
I don't know. Because I've been self-employed for almost 10 years, and I'm the only one generating income into the home.
Right.
And we had benefits for like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they covered speech therapy, but probably not.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah. I know there was someone else in this organization.
Yeah.
Who had just expressed something, and I was like, we actually have benefits for that.
Yeah.
Like you get a certain amount, whatever. And so they, I believe, took advantage of it as well. But not everyone has benefits that cover it.
Yeah.
I think that would be an easy step. Not an easy step, but
sure.
It's an easy step for me to say.
Yeah.
I think that would make a difference if more benefit plans included speech therapy. I think, not everyone can afford to pay 100% out of pocket or anything out of pocket for speech for their kids, or for like their however old different individuals are. That would make a big difference. And again, speech isn't the only aspect of it.
Sure. Comes up a lot, though. In the conversations I've had with people, because I've asked them, email or whatever, speech almost always comes up.
Yeah. I think in our case, a lot of what we focused on in speech has been like self-advocacy. So like just really clear, like, nope, I need space, or like, I don't want that, or like, no, thank you, or thank you isn't as important for me. But like... But having the ability to express boundaries and to establish boundaries, because if a kid or anyone really can't express that they need space, the natural thing for them to do is to push you out of their space.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to like my childhood, like in my sister, like she could not access the words to tell me or to tell whoever it was that she needed space, or she was overstimulated, or that it was too loud. She couldn't access those words.
Yeah.
So having the ability, like going through the speech therapy process, sometimes she still gets, is dysregulated or might get frustrated, like we all do. Mm-hmm. But she is much more comfortable now expressing like, no, give me space, get out of my way. I don't want that. That goes... like a lot of credit for that goes to the speech therapists and like speech pathologists and all of that we've worked with over the years.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. I forget how I worded it in the question, the last question I was going to ask you. Was it something along the lines of, if there's one thing you wanted people to know about autism, what would it be? Yeah,
that's exactly. Yeah. That, not the exact words, but close. I think, the one thing would probably be that having autism or being autistic is not the problem. The challenges that arise because someone is autistic, or the challenges that arise that autistic people face, are not there because of the autism. They are there because people are trying to survive and live and exist in a world that was built by and for neurotypical individuals who either chose to ignore that other people's brains would work differently, or just were not aware that not everyone's brain was the same. So autism is not the problem. The structures and the systems that have been built are. And again, that's not putting blame on anyone. That's where the barriers come from. It's not the autism, it's the structure.